Wrestling Room with Coach Goodale and myself. We got a great guest coming on to join us in a little bit, but a lot of action in this last 2 weeks. We had a tough week last week. I tried to run it without Coach Goodale. He had his little golfing tournament. He can't resist, so he had to gear up for a big game, and I was fine. I was fine with that. But I was going to bring Scott on. We were going to go co-host, run the whole show, but just bad connection, bad. I had a bad computer, not the regular routine. I got a different setup here. We lost power out in Spring Lake for a little bit. I don't know how you guys were in Tom's River from that big storm, but we had no power out here for a couple of days, and it threw me off a little bit. But recovered. We're back. We're live, and I'm excited to talk to you a little bit and get to talk to Scott here in a little bit as well.
Yeah, it's that was a crazy storm that ripped through here. We lost power for like 10 hours. So I kind of got nervous. I thought that because around here, man, that thing can go. Like, it was weird. If the wind blows hard, we can lose power. But then during Sandy, we didn't lose any power. But the other day, we lost it for about 10 hours. Tom's River got hit pretty good. But yeah, it was just a member guest that I've been involved in for the last couple of years. Every time in August, couldn't turn my boy down in Galloway. So that's the reason for you guys going on. I wish it worked out because Scott would have been great as a co-host. But no, there's so much to talk about today with everything going on. Big Ten football, Pac-12 football, how it relates to wrestling. I'm sure obviously our viewers want to know what's going on with our guys, with our team. What does that look like? Our schedule now is going to take meaning the Big Ten will start focusing on winter sports, basketball schedules coming out, wrestling schedules coming out. The plan is for January 1st across the board. I don't think you'll see any activities, any sports until January 1. So what does that look like for us? That's all stuff we can get into. And then with Del Vecchio being a Division III coach at Stevens, what does that look like for him? Where's he at? I know you've probably talked to him quite a bit, but so we'll get into that a little bit and how he's dealing with his guys and recruits and how he's training, or if his guys are training at all,
Yeah, it's interesting. I had a question for you on kind of that topic. You got all these kind of not distractions, but kind of distractions to your real job, which is being a wrestling coach a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And during this time, July, August months, man, usually you're instilling basics into guys coming in, freshmen becoming sophomores, making sure their programs and lifting the weight room or diets are on point so they can make that next big jump for themselves. Has this whole process taken away from being able to focus on maybe some of those individuals that need it the most?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously, this is a bump in the road, right? We've never been faced with this, so that's been hard. This is a huge developmental time for us. We use the summer to transition these guys who are going to be freshmen to show them the basics, kind of our language, what we talk about. So, for example, when they get in there in September, October, right, we're not constantly going over a Turk, or your position on a Turk, your position on a single leg. We've been over that all summer, and we haven't really been able to do that this summer. So that's been hard. I think we've ramped it up the last month where we've made sure guys are lifting, have been able to get with DeMarco at his gym. We've been around the state in some of these clubs that are opened up, and that's helped a little, but you can't get all your guys there. It's not the same as if you were in your own facility. We have a lot of guys living on campus right now, and they got to travel to come to us. So there's days maybe they don't want to travel, they don't want to drive, and some of them are working, some are not. So that stuff's been delayed. It's been but I'm sure it's like that across the board. And the last couple of weeks have been really, really good. And guys decide they want to get in and train, they make it work and they make it happen. So our turnouts have been good. We can't force them to be there, but it's definitely taken away from the development of a lot of our guys for sure.
Yeah, you see it. I see it a lot because I follow a lot of different guys on different programs and on social media, whatever it may be, and just seeing how they're training, how they're living, and seeing our guys, just following Sebastian Rivera, you could see he's reaching out to these guys. He's working out. I mean, he put up a picture yesterday. He's working out with Roman Bravo, Jack Mueller, and Shane Van Ness all in one workout. And I think Humphrey wasn't in that picture, but I think he's there too. That's really high level guys during this time. They're getting together. They're making sure they put the work in, and it's exciting to see. I love it. And the other Rutgers guys, not just Sebastian, who's kind of the new guy, all our guys are putting in that work, and
Yeah.
making sure they dot their I's, cross their T's. They're
Yep.
hungry. They want this season. They don't want a free break to have a year to get better. They want this season. So
Yep.
for a fan now at this point and a supporter of the program, I love seeing that and seeing the hunger in the guys. I was thinking about it last night. Just for every Scotty Winston and Ashnault that commits to Rutgers, we lose like 20 guys, 25
Yep.
guys. And over the years, we're closing that gap, but it's good to go in that room now and see all the hammers. And, we've definitely gotten a lot more individuals of that caliber, of that rare individual talent.
Yeah.
If you follow what
Well,
I'm
I
saying.
think it's certainly a great place to train. I think our guys see how, across the country with, obviously Sebastian now gives us a whole different demographic with his Instagram and his followers, and people see what we're doing and what he's doing. And I just think about his ego, right? How about just chucking his ego to the side? He's got Jack Mueller in there. The guy rode him for 6 straight minutes. And he's like, listen, I got to get better. Come in here and train. And that's what this sport should be all about. And then, our guys are following. It's good to see even our young guys, Johnny Paz driving an hour, Connor O'Neill driving an hour, because they have to get better. The best guys in the country understand they can't use this time. They know they're not with their teams, and they got to find a way to continue to get better and stick to their routine that you and I talk about all the time. And summer wrestling is a huge part of a routine of some of the best guys in the country. And until you figure that out, you never make those jumps. So being around our guys, being around our staff as much as possible certainly helps these guys. And yeah, the room has been packed. The room's been great. And you could see guys getting better. And then there's some guys that just don't make it, that just don't get down there, and you can't blame them. You want to blame them, but you can't, right? It's where they live and it's far. But yeah, guys are making jumps and all that talent in one room. You have to get better. So I love it, man. I love going in there and just watching. I love going there and training. And we've had, like I said, we've had some really, really good turnouts. So if it's important to you, you make those things. And the good thing is we're up north a couple of days a week. We're down south a couple of days a week. And, it's you got to make it a priority.
Since you can't really be directing those practices or really even have your hands on guys, do you make it a point to maybe reach out to, like, say we were in the room every day right now and freshmen are moving into summer bridge, like you're getting to wrestle with them, teaching them the basics maybe, or just some of the drills. Are you communicating with some of these younger guys like Paz and O'Neill, like, hey, like make sure you guys work on this today, because you're going to be on your own, but make sure you touch these areas?
Yeah, for the most part, though, I don't want to say it's kind of just an open free for all, because we'll talk about some positionings quite a bit if we're in there. So, it's not a structured practice at all. It's kind of we allow these guys to train at their pace and learn. But you got to, if there's mistakes being made, you talk to them. But yeah, we talk. There's a lot of dialogue. Again, it's the guys who want to be good, right? They'll reach out. What do you think I need to do today? And I know, like, you could tell when Johnny Paz is working out with Ethan Ramos, there's a freestyle element to it, right? It's because he's preparing for junior trials that are hopefully coming up in late October for a lot of these guys like Dylan Shawver and Connor O'Neill that have a freestyle background. Our U23 guys, we could send them to Ohio late October to prepare for a trial type situation where they're trying to make a world team. So all that stuff is still in play. So you could see the guys who are like training for a purpose, right? The freestyle for that tournament specifically. So there's a lot more edge of the mat scores, fighting gut wrenches, fighting locks, things like that. There's some stuff going on there that we'll have dialogue on the telephone about, and they'll go in the next day and work on it. So, and I think our coaches, there's a lot of dialogue with all of our coaches that are talking about that type of stuff. So, and then for some, it's just like, listen, you got to be training. If you're not going to make wrestling, you got to go for a run. You got to get a lift in. You got to be ready to go. There's no excuse for showing up and 10 minutes in still being exhausted and sick. That's shame on you if that's the way you're feeling. So that's kind of part of the process too.
Yeah, and sometimes those guys that are like telling you, I'm going to get in shape, I'm going to get better, like be more consistent, are the guys that show up 3 days that week and then the next week they're gone again. And then 2 weeks later, they're back for 3 days in that week. And they're like, I'm back committed. I'm on my diet. It's like, nah, it's a 24/7 deal. Like, you're either in or you're out, and it's not going to work if you're not in.
If you want to be really good. If you want to be really good.
Yeah. Just a reminder before we have Scott come on here, You could come on face to face with Coach Goodell and myself, watching on air on the free Fan Cut app by pressing the green line button. You could also ask questions while Scott's on air on that app or on the YouTube Live link. We have a question right now from Jackson. We all know there's no competition until January at the earliest. What does the fall look like? And is is there a point at which the spring season drops dead if things aren't better by November/December, etc.? And I think, yeah, like right now there's announced senior trials October, junior trials October, all those tournaments are announced. So that's the plan, I'd say, moving forward right now. And it's, yeah, of course it's day by day. If things
I
drop dead, we can't really do anything about it besides just
yeah.
get better day by day here.
I think the biggest question to this, and to answer this question, because it's a great question, and I'm sure people want to know from a Rutgers wrestling standpoint, we're going to test the 19th of August, we're going to test the 24th, and then we're going to move our guys in the 31st. So from that point on, we'll start our training, like our preseason 8-hour cycle once classes start. We don't have to really rush the pace now because we're not open in November 1st, obviously, so we can take some time. The biggest thing for me the first couple of weeks is keeping these guys in this bubble, which is going to be a hard thing to do, right? There's going to be a ton of discipline that needs to be happening, and just keep them within this bubble so we can continue to train.
Now,
what's that?
Some of the headlines in the bubble and hotels for football, it's like it's going to be tough to keep these kids disciplined.
Yeah. So when we get to November, we'll obviously ramp it up. In December, we'll start our 20-hour weeks and get ready for January 1. Is there a drop dead date? Well, I think it all depends on what the country's doing, right? What's going on across the country. I think come October, you'll see an all Big Ten wrestling schedule. Just like you've read headlines, there's going to be an all EIWA wrestling schedule. I believe everybody's going to that. They're conference only, which for us isn't great, right? Because that forces us to get on some planes and more so. I mean, we have 7 teams within an hour we can wrestle, but the Big Ten doesn't feel the testing system is as intense or extensive as it is in the Big Ten, so they want to keep us in conference. So for us, probably no Princeton, Rider, Lehigh, Hofstra, Columbia. We'll be doing none of that. It'll be Big Ten and Big Ten only. Maybe not just dual meets, maybe showing up in, teams of 5, putting together like little
try matches,
quads, or those little round robin things that like Journeyman does, things like that. And then of course there'll be dual meets, but
it's going to be interesting for sure. And I wonder if say you want to bring Princeton in, if Rutgers wants to give them tests, is it allowed then, or what the process may be? Maybe like a football team pays a lower AA team to come play them for the first game of the season, kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they put a rule in where you just cannot for this year. You just can't do it. You just can't.
And simple.
Yeah, otherwise, everybody will be bringing someone in and paying someone to do this and to do that, and then it's all across the country. So, I could tell you this, Ant, the national tournament will not move this year. It just won't move. It's going to be March 20th, if there is one, of course. The biggest question for all the coaches, is there a waiver, right? If the Big Ten gets canceled, the Big Ten tournament, the national tournament again, does everybody get a year back? I think they're going in that direction. How are scholarships handled? That hasn't been determined. Is it up to the institution? You have to stick with your 9-9. Those questions haven't been answered yet. So there's a lot of planning that's going on right now with college coaches, and I don't know if Scotty gets caught up in that. I don't know if that happens at his level, but I know from a D1 standpoint, if they're going to allow us to go over 9-9, is that fair? Do they keep it at 9-9? And as a coach, you need to figure it out. Are there more gap years because you don't want to start this scholarship cycle too quick, so you have your money on the back end because you don't want to hurt a kid? I promised you half. I promised you 50%, but now I can't give it to you. You don't ever really want to go down that road. So there's a lot. It's put, like I said, I've always said it on the show. It's putting pieces to the puzzle together, and it really never stops.
Yeah, and it's not going to stop with something like this because, I was supposed to be in Carolina for a camp right now for like a 24-hour lock-in charity event that I've been talking about, and it got canceled last second because of this situation, or postponed for now. And it's just, that's the situation we're in. We're going to set these dates, we're going to make these exceptions, and we're going to figure it out. But then it's still day by day. We still don't know when March whatever comes, if if Sammy Alvarez tests positive for COVID on March 15th, he probably can't wrestle in the national tournament. Like that just is what it is. And it's going to be the world we're in. And hopefully that we could get past this as a whole and just kind of move forward. But it's day by day and staying positive with that kind of stuff and hoping it does work out.
It's funny, half the country I hear it'll all be over November 6th, right? Trying to tie the political spot to it. Well, what does that mean? I mean, people are clearly getting sick, right? What was your feeling when they shut down football? Were you like, damn, that's crazy when they shut down Big Ten football?
Yeah, it's still just everything's still just so crazy. Like if they let everything go, I mean, like me individually, like I don't really know what the heck's going on because like if they just ran it, I would be like, oh, I guess we're safe enough and we could go play. And if they didn't, I would be like, I guess it's pretty serious and crazy. And it's like it's the first time as an adult in my life that I'm like questioning the way the world is. It's like dang, like I got to look into this. You got to like do my own research on this and that, and it definitely opens your eyes up to like what you're hearing through the news or whatever outlets you're looking at. It's like what's real, what's not, and I don't know. You just start getting a little nervous for your current situation, so you want to figure everything out, and you want all the details. And if they're right, if they're wrong, you just want everything, and you want to consume that information. So, just trying my best to consume everything, but it's still really hard to navigate through this process.
So I was following like Nick Saban, LSU's program, right, and Dabo Sweeney and all those coaches, and they're good to listen to, right, because they want to play. Down south, football is just a way of life, right? And I think they're going to play. I think the SEC and the ACC, they're going to play because it's such part of their culture. And for whatever reason, I just think they're going to play. But they made the statement that their kids are safer in a bubble, like they're safer when they're with them. And for me, I absolutely agree with them. I mean, that might sound crazy, but when your guys are getting tested twice a week and where they're contained to their dorm, whatever that dorm is, and then they're going to practice, then they're going to lifts, and they're eating together, and it's them together. I could see how they feel that way, man. I could see how they feel that way. And, I don't want to get into what happened at Rutgers, right, with their football program, because that's not my business. And, that's not for me to talk about. But clearly it's just one or two guys getting away, and you get out with the wrong crowd. You're not in that bubble anymore, and then boom, all hell breaks loose. So if it could spread that quickly, I could see one side of it saying, yeah, how can you play? But if you can contain your guys, and you've done such a good job of containing them for 2 months and there's no positives, I'm sure that's why I could see why those coaches are like, we could play football. But there's so much more that goes into it. It's crazy. The officials, the people holding the chains, it's crazy. Just all the little things you got to think of when running a football game.
I think about that the same way, college age kid, 18 to 22, 23, 17 maybe, if they're not on that team with a purpose where their whole life they've been an athlete and they've had goals and directions and some of them been spoon-fed in that direction, it's like you're going to just let these kids go wild. Like they're going to go expose themselves to a lot more and a lot more people than if they were on that team in that circle, developing their skills as a person, not just the athlete within that circle, because that's how us athletes do. That's how we develop. We develop through our sports as humans, just as a man for me, like through the sport of wrestling, definitely. And I think we're taking away that from these kids, let them go be a part of this team. And if it's only the Big Ten season, it's only the Big Ten season. It's the experience of being part of a team. And I was fortunate. I got 6 years. So my last two, especially, I got to realize that I was like, I got to take in more of these team moments, having this camaraderie, having the brothers, having a brotherhood. Just, it's not like that when you're done with college, or sometimes it's not like that when you're done with high school. That's all you got. So we're taking away from that. They're taking away from the kids a little bit with that stuff. But I was also thinking on top of all that, if we do get these events off, there's going to be no fans, and that takes away from it as well. Like I was listening to some of the UFC fighters talk about it because I love following combat sports. I don't really ever want to do it, but I love following it, and I'm a huge fan of these fights coming up this weekend. Stipe versus DC. He's a big wrestler, DC, and it's his retirement fight. Last fight, hopefully he wins, ends up on top as the heavyweight champ. But one of the guys talking about like it's still just your lead up is the same because you're pretty much in quarantine when you're preparing. It's all the same, but then you win and you have that big moment and you want to celebrate, and it's like nothing. And it's just emptiness. So it's like, what are we doing this for? And, that's the tough part. If it depends what your motivation is in sports, but that's going to be the tough part for everyone. And I see baseball's really struggling with that right now, and other sports are struggling. UFC seems to be doing fine with it, but that is tough to not have fans to have that momentum,
Yeah,
have that energy.
yeah, and obviously you know this, but that's a big deal for a lot of our guys. So we want you to send in some of your questions, but I'm sure we'll get, what are you going to do with Suriano? What are you going to do with red shirts? What are you going to do with Rivera? And I was quoted the other day in the paper, and I talked to Sebastian about this a lot. Right? He wants fans. He wants to wrestle in front of fans. So he has an option to take an Olympic red shirt. Is he going to take that Olympic red shirt? We don't know that yet. So I don't have the answer to it, but that's certainly on the table. Uh, Another Olympic red shirt for Nick is certainly on the table. A regular red shirt for Nick is certainly on the table. We don't know what Nick's going to do. So there's so many questions with that. But just to go back to your point, and it's a good point. Like, these guys want fans, right? That's kind of why you do it. I mean, it's MMA, it's wrestling, it's entertainment though. It's entertainment, and a lot of our guys come to Rutgers because they want to wrestle in front of those fans, and that's important to them. So the guy we have backstage right now lived and fed off a crowd. Can you imagine him wrestling without a crowd? Probably
Yeah.
wouldn't want to do it.
Yeah, no, it's tough. Yeah, definitely. This is a perfect person to have on with this conversation. Let's pitch Scott through here. But yeah, Scott has plenty of celebrations all the way back to the high school days. We wrestled together at South Plainfield. And Scott, what's going on?
We made it.
Yeah, overcoming some adversity, little embarrassment on my end, but it's all good. We're here. We survived another week of quarantine, and we're living, man. How you doing over there?
I'm doing pretty good, man. How you guys doing? Some good conversation going on.
Thanks, bro.
Pretty deep, right, Scotty, dude? Can you hear me?
Say it again?
I said it's pretty deep. We're getting deep on this stuff.
Yeah, getting deep. It's a crazy world we live in right now, huh? Crazy times.
Yeah.
How are you handling it all with your team? What are you guys doing?
So right now, it's pretty much, I think we're all in the same boat, right? We're just taking it day by day, trying to get this information, whatever's going on kind of thing. Did the same thing. It's going to be a January move. They said we could start on, a regular date, but obviously there's a lot of hoops to jump through with that going on. So right now it's kind of like the same thing. You got to rely on these kids to put in some work on their own and kind of push themselves through it.
Yeah, man.
Go ahead.
We were talking right before you got on, just about even if we do get going again in January, how there might not be any fans and no crowd to kind of live off of. And, being around you're pretty much whole athletic, competitive career. You lived for the moment to celebrate with the fans and just have that moment where you were celebrating a little bit at the end of the match. What do you think about just not having fans in general? And you think that's going to affect some athletes? Like if you were to picture yourself going back and putting yourself at Rutgers and going through this time, would you be like, damn, my senior year, I don't have fans. Like, what is this even worth it? Like, would you be questioning it a little bit?
Honestly, I'd probably act a fool in an empty room.
I've seen it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. Don't get me wrong. I love the crowd. It's a big crowd and everything, but it was more so just me kind of thing, right? You build it up in your head a little bit, and it's like, screw this guy kind of thing. That's how you feel as a competitor. So, like I said, if it was an empty room, I would probably still run around looking like a crazy person regardless. But I understand where it comes from. You don't want to do that, right? You don't want to be in an empty room. You want those fans, and obviously it helps in those tight situations. But overall, it's competing, right? And it wasn't so much, you do it for the crowd, but you're doing it for yourself, 100%. Right? Yeah, I want to win. So as long as you're competing, you're competing to win, whether you're in a backyard or you're in a million-person stadium. Either way, you're competing to win. So to me, it's kind of that's
if you're
how it
given
goes.
the choice right now to wait for fans or to finish out your senior year, whatever the case might be, where do you go? What do you do?
See, I got to be careful with this one because I've had this conversation a couple times, and I don't want to go back and forth and flip-flop. But I guess if it works, if it makes sense, where you can push push your, competition years out a little bit. If you're going very far out of your way to get another year, I don't know if I would, agree with that. If you have years, like you said, there are kids that have the red shirt left or Olympic red shirt left. Of course, right? Those are your options. But if you're now like going very far out of your way to make this thing happen, maybe it's done. And I think that's something that's a conversation that a lot of people have to have with themselves. But again, if it's a viable option where, hey, we could easily get you another year and avoid this situation, of course, do it. But if it's, where you're digging around trying to figure out how to make it work, well, maybe get your degree and
going off
keep
that,
moving.
You might not be able to answer this question, but are you guys at Stevens maybe telling any freshmen like, hey, let's wait this thing out. Don't register till second semester. Maybe we wait a little bit and have you come in next year or something like that.
Obviously you want to do what's best for the program and what's best for the guys. And like I just said, right, we're going to leave it on these guys to, it's, you get into college, you're growing, you're mature, and we want them to make the decision. Obviously, no one knows what's going on right now. It's a pretty, it's unprecedented. So we're just taking it as it goes, and we're moving with what we got.
What is your testing procedure? Have you done any of that up there at Stevens? Like, what is it? What is Coach Fabio doing with, like, is there a plan? Is there like protocol? Like, I know at Rutgers we have these spit tests and we could test a lot, right? There's a lot going on there. Is the same thing happening up near you?
So right now, no one's on campus right now, so they're still going over what's gonna, the procedures of what's gonna happen once we get into that arena. And as for right now, again, it's you wait for the information, and as the information comes, you relay it to the team, and we're kind of all in the same boat. You know what I mean? We have to hear from this guy, who has to hear from this guy, who has to hear from this guy, and it all comes down the ladder. So right now, we're still just trying to wait it out and figure out what exactly is set in stone.
I got some questions from some fans here, Scott. I opened it up to Instagram this morning, a little late, but I still got some questions in for you, and some of them are very related to this topic, so I'll just fire them away. You can make them short. Some of them could be one word if you want. From the coach, Gordon Bombay, Ducks. Now that you're in D3 coaching, what's the difference between D1, D3, if any?
Honestly, I think that goes off of, what I was saying before, in the sense of when you compete to win, right? So whether I'm competing in Division 1, 2, or 3, whatever division, whether I'm competing in my backyard, in my living room, which happens a lot. And like I said, I'll run around and celebrate wherever I am, whether it's in my living room or not. You're there to compete. And what I found, through coaching these last couple of years is that's all it is, right? It's kids competing. It's not so much a division. It's everyone puts it on the line. Everyone tries to win. And that's why, you play to win the game, right? Goodell, I'm sure you know that.
Right.
You play to win the game. And that holds true,
and it's
no matter what. So across the division.
It's like when you have siblings, I feel like that helps a lot. You mentioned that a little bit. It's like you're trying to always kind of like you have little brothers and a big brother. I was the little brother, but it's like I'm trying to one up my big brother when I was a kid all the time. And it's like you got that competitive nature going into it.
And that's where you're lucky, right? Because you're the younger brother.
Yeah,
so
but you got to
set
the standard.
The bigger brother.
You got to set the standard.
Unfortunately, and I got to keep doing it. I'm getting old, man. I'm trying to retire, man. My career's done. They won't let me stop, So it's fun for sure with the siblings and everything, and it's definitely it keeps me in shape, right? Even when I get a little away from it, they force me to continue to keep doing it.
Question from Jersey Nels: how did it feel to become an All-American?
We have. I was assuming we were getting into that. At some point, we're going to talk about that match, right?
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah, I had other questions. I can't say some of them about the Santo and stuff, but we'll just keep it at this about that match. How did it feel to become an All-American?
Yeah, no, it felt great. I mean, obviously, you guys were in the room with me and everything, and it was something that I wanted to get done for a very long time. I came up short junior year, obviously, round of 12. That's one I wish I could get back. Obviously, everybody has those matches, but to All-American, it was great. But to be honest, it was kind of I don't know. Maybe I built it up a little bit in my in my head, but hold on.
Dude, that whole that Friday night was incredible. Like that's probably the best wrestling you ever did, right? Was that Friday night, like beating DeSanto, and then I think you came back and beat the Lehigh guy.
Crushed him.
Crushed, like you just rolled on that Friday
Yeah.
night, and then obviously Friday morning, right? So that was a huge day for you, man. You just got hot. I mean, you just got hot, and incredible how you did that. It was incredible.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you zero in on it, right? It's like, hey, man, this is it. You either win or go home. And obviously it was win or go home since day one. I lost opening round. Never won a first-round match at NCAAs. So in territory I knew pretty well, but had to rattle them all off. And then DeSanto came up. And obviously that was a big build-up. Obviously he had done whatever he had done throughout the season. He was a big name. I think it was 6-0 or 6-1, 5-1, whatever it was. But that's when you really realize, like, hey, it's all or nothing here. I can't give up, especially being on top. There was so many things going through my mind. It was like, do I cut this guy and try to take him down? Do I try to turn him? He's not doing much on bottom. And then you see Stallings flying around, and it's like, oh, there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4. And it got to the point where I'm like, I'm almost asking this kid. I'm like, hey, man, you got to lose this match. You gotta
I'm
move.
sure you did whisper in his ear, yo, you going to move it all down there, dog?
Yeah. So, and then, and we talk about it a lot too, crazy, which just means it must have been in the stars, but
Unbelievable.
boom, match is over. You look up, and there's 1 minute and 1 second of riding time to give me the 1 point to tie the match and go into overtime. And at that point, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to lose. How am I going to lose? Like, for some reason, I'm supposed to win this match. You know what I mean? Like, all the things that just happened, I got to win this thing. And then next thing you know, I think I forced him into a shot, or he just took a bad shot.
Best picture there is in Rutgers wrestling history. Standing over him.
Dude.
Yeah, that's got to get in the room somewhere.
That should be a mural, like in the background.
That thing needs to get blown up. It's got to be hanging from the rack.
So people ask me about that tournament, and obviously you've been to that tournament so many times, like the emotions and the roller coaster. So I think of that, like your first period with him, or maybe first 2 periods with him. I'm like, oh man, round of 12 again. And then you make this incredible comeback, obviously the takedown. You're an All-American. We're going crazy. Now we got to get ready for Johnny Van Brill, right? And Johnny Van Brill ends up, he's winning, not to bring this up, but he's winning 8-4 with whatever left. And he gets taken down twice at the buzzer, loses in overtime. And just the emotion, it was like, I just think of that tournament. And then Rich, it was crazy how that all went down, just crazy. Yeah. So the emotions of that tournament.
Yeah, I mean,
no, we went crazy in the back, and then I had to rush to get to him on deck.
So I didn't get to watch.
So it was just right after, and it was unbelievable how that all went down. But
okay,
good.
Okay, yeah, but it was because I only heard about the match. I didn't get to watch it, and then it was crazy because obviously you're riding that high, and it's like, wow, we're about to do something. About that. I think we had me and Johnny and Richie in position to become All-Americans, which is huge points in the tournament, right? Kind of changes everything. And it's sitting in semis. Yeah, so we really could have done some serious damage in that tournament, had some things gone the other way. And it's crazy to think about when you look back on it, what happened. Obviously, you don't want to harp on it or anything, but it's what happens in those situations.
And I have a quick one here for Scotty. This is more coaching, but obviously related to his career. Like you were so low maintenance. Like you were really low maintenance. Come in, you'll train with anybody, you'll put your hands on anybody. You didn't really give a crap how you were feeling, or at least you never told anybody about it. You just came to work every day, put your head down, got the heck out of there. And that was just different for us, right? You were just very low maintenance, which we appreciate. do you feel you get that with your athletes? Are you like, give me some signs of life, give me some? You always had a plan. You knew your plan. You loved to compete. We never worried about your weight. We never worried about you wanting to compete. Like, it was just really easy coaching you. But do you feel like does that hurt or help you with coaching your guys that are laid back or guys that really need your attention? Where are you at with that? Because I just thought I just appreciated that you were just so low maintenance.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's two ways, right? I didn't really realize it at the time when I was going through it. I was more of a sit back and kind of observe, watch, right? Because to me, we had a lot of characters, right? We came through a lot of characters, and obviously you see, the coaches not put up, but, go through those situations. And to me, it was always like, oh, wow, like, that's pretty funny, this, that, or the next thing. So I didn't need any of that. You know what I mean? I was more of like, all right, while they're dealing with that, I got my own stuff to handle over here, kind of thing. And as long as everything's under control, because I'm sure, there were situations where I wasn't, I didn't have things under control and I did need to turn to somebody and I did need that help. And I think that's the biggest thing is, even if you're low maintenance, as long as I make myself available to the guys and I'm like, hey, need something, I'm here. If you have it under control, good. Continue to have it under control. That's part of growing up. That's part of maturing, especially through college. Don't get wrapped up in it all. You are still going through life at the same time. So make yourself available. And when these kids, feel comfortable, when there is a problem, they can come to you. But when they have it under control, they can also push themselves and make themselves better. So I think that plays into it a little bit, right? If I ever did need something, I never felt like I couldn't reach out and ask for it. I just tried not to be that guy because like I said, you see a lot of it with a lot of the guys on the team. We had a fun time through my 5 years there. It was a lot of characters. So again, I just tried to
if you
to
could
be
be
the
low
low maintenance guy,
still,
put my head down, go to work,
get it done and compete
and
at a
just
high
get it
level,
done.
that's the best athlete to have. I feel like you want a guy that's gonna just, not just fall in line and do everything you say, but just be like a soldier in a way. Like, this is the job, this is the goal. I trust you to complete your little part of your job that will add up to the whole picture. And if everyone did that, it would make everyone's life a lot easier. But, you always got that one guy who feels like he can't work out with a kid, or, it's a snowball effect. And I've been guilty of it plenty of times. So it's something I see you in practice and in competition, like I try to be a little bit more like you in that way. And it's good to hear your mindset a little bit on it, but I definitely want to be a little bit more like that. It's important to just be able to do it on your own. And I definitely do it on my own, but there's a lot of people I rely on in the process, in my routines. So it's like, you got to be able to be relying on yourself. And kind of like you're saying, you celebrate more than almost anyone, but it's for yourself. It's not for anyone else but yourself and what you want in your own life. And that goes a long way in my mind. And I'm definitely going to be writing that down, reminding myself about that.
Yeah, of course. And like you said, there's always great people in your corner, right? I would never deny that. I had a lot of help throughout those years, and it's kind of that balance between, where do I need it and where can I do it myself, kind of thing. And I never want to be stubborn about it, but I also, use the
You
people
were
that are
good
there,
though.
but
You were good
also
about challenging us. Like
push
you,
yourself,
you would
figure it
challenge
out,
me. You'd ask me
get it
why,
done for
and maybe it
yourself.
was just me and you in a hotel room, or me and you somewhere alone, and you would challenge me for sure. And like, why is this going on? Why are you allowing this? Why are we doing this? But that was it. And then I would give you my reasons. We would talk, and I think that's the biggest, right? That's probably the biggest difference between college. And you're getting this now as a college coach, right? College and high school, like you could have those conversations. I never took it as you wanted to know why we were doing things. Just like when I recruited Anthony, he would ask me, why are you doing this? Why are we doing this? And you listen to that, and as a coach, you get better. And I'm sure you're going through that, but you would definitely challenge me. You would challenge all of us and make your point known, and then you'd get back to work. So it wasn't like you just always fell in line, right? You did what we wanted done, but you also spoke your mind, which was great. I appreciated it.
No, and that was it too, right? Because like I said, we did have a lot of characters. There were a lot of crazy things going on at a couple different times. So it was always, to me, interesting to see, like, why, you know what I mean? Because there was a lot of things where, a lot of people, and even, you go back to the team and everyone's, when people don't know the reason for something, they create a reason, like, oh, this must be why, or that must be why, or that must be why. And it's like, well, that all sounds crazy. Let me go ask Goodell. And then I find out it's not that craziness. It's a different craziness. So it's always a reason for it, but it's always fun to, figure it out and get to the bottom of it. Because like I said, when people don't know, they make up whatever they think might possibly be it. And I'd rather get it straight from.
Have you ever come across a pain in the ass guy that's really, really good?
Yeah.
That you're just struggling to coach him, or he's struggling to fit in with five and all those guys? Like, have you ever come across that yet?
Not really, right? Because we haven't had a guy who's just like completely stubborn and just won't listen. It's more so the guys who, like you said, maybe they don't understand why we're having them do these things. Because obviously wrestling's a hard sport, and you put them through some grueling workouts, and it's a tough schedule. It's a grind, and sometimes in that grind, whether it's an excuse for not having to do something or whatever, kids ask, why are we doing this? Or like, oh, this sucks, or this, that, and the other thing, So it is kind of hard to remind these guys, like, hey, it's for the better. We put our time in. No one ever wants to hear that, right? You're not doing anything we didn't do. I remember always hearing that from you guys and every coach I ever had, and it's like, freaking liar. Like, you didn't do this. Like, but, now I'm on the other side of it. So now it's kind of like, hey, man, we did things way worse than that, like the whole uphill both ways kind of thing. And it's little things like that. You got to remind them, like, hey, this is for the better. You're going to get better for it. You're going to be better for it. Just listen to us, trust us. And that's a good thing about what they have over there. Joe and Anthony, they do really well with getting guys on board and trusting them and the direction and the goals, you know what I mean? And when you hear him talk, it's like, he fires me up, I'm like, give me a singlet. I'll get out there too, So it's really good. He's really
Coach
good
Fabio
at motivating these guys and getting them to see.
To me, it really seems like he brings that
picture.
mentality and that culture to your guys' program, and like kind of like molds it in that hardness way where like he lives that personality. He has that fire in his belly the same way as like a Brands, like about the sport of wrestling and getting guys better and just having that passion. And I really respect that. I watch him and I feel that energy in him when he's teaching, when he's coaching. And you see it in your guys. They're always in really good shape. They always look really strong, and they just wrestle really hard. So you definitely see the translation in it.
No, yeah, and like I said, that speaks a lot to his ability to get these guys on board, right? Because you look at that, and to go back to the whole division question, where people consider it like Division III, or this versus that kind of thing. There's none of that, right? You get into that room, and you wouldn't even realize it because of the way he pushes these kids and the way these kids respond. They wrestle everything, right? It's 100% all the time, and it's very cool to see the way these guys respond in that way, because like I said, you fall for it, right? We wrestle Division I, you hear the stories like, oh, Division III, he went to Division III, like, why didn't you go to Division I, kind of thing, But it's these guys work.
What is some of the
they grind,
like?
And
I don't know.
You wouldn't know the difference.
You
You
get
really
later in
wouldn't.
your college career, you start seeing some of the things like you're saying. Why is coaches doing this? I'm just going to ask them. What are some of the things, like when you first started coaching, you were like, this is what I want to be as a coach, or this is one thing I really want to focusing on with the guys, or I really want to make sure I mentor two guys. Was there one or two things you were like, this is something I really want to be as a coach?
So what kind of helped me in that aspect was when I came into, I think there's a lot you need in a coaching staff, right? Not so much one coach, because I think we had a little bit at Rutgers, right? Leo was kind of like the tough enforcer guy, like, oh no, you're getting a phone call from Leo, you're in trouble, kind of thing. Pollard was a good guy who, where he'd come around and be like, hey, even though you lost, it was a good match. This is what we need to work on. You had the different personalities that kind of like all meshed together and made it a good staff. And I think at Stevens, that's what it is, right? Because, Joe's really hard and he pushes these guys, Bond's really good at, getting these guys going as well. And I feel like I fit in that way of, keep it. It's a sport and it's tough, but have fun. You know what I mean? You're going to wrestle your best when you're having fun. And I try to keep things light, try to keep these guys, not take it not seriously, but relax. You know what I mean? Relax. Just go out there. We know what you're capable of. Just go out there and perform the way you can. And I feel like we each have a piece that plays into creating this team. And I think that's why it was very easy for me to get into it, because they all did a great job. They all do a good job. They all had a great mission as far as like the goal of what the team is. And I feel like I fit into a very, easy part for me to fit into, where I can wrestle hard with these guys and I can try to keep things light
you would do great
and
at,
keep them
that. So that's
from not,
like your personality,
beating themselves
as
before
an
they get out
athlete,
there.
You were like cool. In my mind, I don't know in the inside if you felt this way, but you seemed cool, calm, and collected. But when it was time to go, maybe you gave up the first takedown a couple times, but it was going to be a competitive match, no matter who it was, no matter if you were better than the guy or you were going to bring that same energy, that same pace, and be looking to take the guy's head off. Even though in a calm way, like you're not like over the top, you're not like being out of control or anything.
I promise you,
it's in a very relaxed, calm way.
Yeah. I promise you, I still to this day give up the first takedown. It's not. I remember Leo one time. He seemed very aggravated.
Can you just
because
stop
for some
doing that
reason
on
he
purpose?
thought that I did it on purpose. He was like, "I don't know what it is. I don't know why you do that." And I'm like,
Well, like you could
Literally,
rest
I think that's
assured,
exactly what he
our
said. He was
staff
like, "Just stop
always
doing the
felt
first
you had a
takedown."
chance
Like,
to win, no matter who we were
I don't know what
wrestling.
it is, man.
We're like, Del can we, you go over the lineups, right? Who's going to win here? Who's getting points here? And we were like, listen, Del, no matter who we were wrestling, we're like, Del can win this match. Del's going to be in this match. And most of the time you were, and a lot of times you were winning them. So we weren't far. And that's wrestling in the Big Ten. That was every single night. You had somebody good every single night. Yeah. So that's good for you. Here's a cool question. You talk about having fun with your guys. Del, you have a variety of celebrations, the techniques. If you had to pick one, which do you think is the fan favorite for your celebration? You did this crappily. You did this a lot.
I don't know.
The one match he was wrestling to Julius. I was at Julius. I feel like you hit like 10 celebrations all in one match. He was like,
I don't know.
Yeah,
he was
that
like,
was at the barn, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was at the barn.
That was, and to go over that, right? Again, from the mind of like competing.
Right.
They didn't bring Stieber.
They sat
Schneider,
right?
Yeah. No, Snyder wrestled.
And to me, like,
Tomasello, maybe? No, Tomasello wrestled.
But there was a guy or two who didn't even travel, right?
I mean,
who didn't even like weigh in.
It was a big swing. Yeah.
Whatever. Okay. But again, that's all it takes, right? That one thing to say, like, what is this? They didn't take us seriously. You know what I mean? And you wrestle for a team, and it's like, what do you think? This is a joke? Like, you think we're a joke? So when you beat that person and you beat that team and you create that rally, it's like, you want to do a lot of things. It's like, haha, you messed up. Now you're gonna pay for it. So I think
we were in the match.
I think we rallied.
It was a 6-4 split. We were in that match.
No, it was a 5-5 split.
Karate won a big match.
It was a 5-5 because Billy Smith won at the back end.
Yeah.
So we were up 4 matches to 1 at halftime. Parati beat Demas. We were winning, and the place was falling down. The shit was falling from the ceiling in College Ave.
And that's my point, right? Because it was big to me because I felt like they were being very disrespectful in that sense. So it's like you win that match, and it's like, you turn around, you see the face on the coaching staff, and they're like, they want to cover their face. They don't want to show the expression like, shit, this might be a problem, So it's exciting, you get fired up because of that. And because of that, I think he went through the gauntlet of celebrations. I think I was firing the finger guns, giving the crowd a little bit of this.
They got their money's worth in the college gym that night.
They got it all.
Afternoon. I think it was Super Bowl Sunday.
They deserved it for that one.
Yeah, because they didn't want us to wrestle at the rack.
And that might have been one of the greatest.
Because women's basketball was at the rack.
So.
And then we had like 2,200 people at college half.
Yeah.
And they still had Snyder and Bo Jordan left, so we kind of knew. That was like a match of – there were a bunch of Tech falls, right? I think Tomasello teched, Snyder might have teched, Bo Jordan teched. But we had Ant U teched, and then Scotty won, beat the Julius, and Parati beat Demas. We were in the thick of it, man. It was good. Was that what was your best match? What was your best atmosphere you've been a part of? Your best match that we've been a part of that you enjoyed the most?
That's a tough one. I mean, you always look back to the first Big Ten match, right, with Iowa. That was a great one.
There was a lot of good ones, right? There were a lot of good ones.
Overall, it's tough to say. I mean, that's what I mean. Yeah, there was a lot. Obviously, the fans in New Jersey are so good to us because you wrestle in front of these crowds and everything. That's what makes it so tough to pick, right? Because even a match where they'd be like, it wasn't a great matchup. It's like it was still a great match because the crowd gets into it every time. It's always packed. It's always – and, maybe it does go back to what you guys were saying, right? Because, you want to wrestle in front of that crowd. That is a great crowd to wrestle in front of. And it does play a factor for the most part, right? So, overall, I loved every match we wrestled at the rack. And obviously that one at the barn. That might have been my favorite match was at the barn because, those guys
I just
were on
love
top
that we
of
get
you.
to be a piece
the
of
crowd was
that last
one
piece of being at
circle.
the barn, that last time.
It was a good time.
Those last times, even training, and we didn't get to use that new facility as our training room, but I'm proud to say that I trained at College Ave Gym, and that was my wrestling room, man. I hold that on my heart, and it definitely molded me, going in there late night, at times sneaking in there, hiding in the locker room while they're searching the building, closing it down. Those are times that I will remember forever in college, and I'll be telling my kids those stories. And, the walls had mold in them. We didn't care. We were wrestling.
And that's funny because I think it was at Big Tens. That's when Pollard took me around to see the new facility. And the first thing, obviously, you kind of starstruck about it. Wow, this is beautiful. You never thought this would be here, and it is here. Yeah. And the first thing I said, you guys are going to get soft. You guys are going to get soft.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not in the basement anymore. You're not, down there just butting heads.
Scared
way too
programs.
Comfortable. Way too comfortable.
Listen, halfway through the year, we were talking about you should go work out over at College Ave. I'm not kidding you. And they were like, no way. We can't go over there. Because then they were probably right. But you're right. We worry about that a little bit.
Goodie's trying
Have you seen your new pictures that are up in the room? You see your mural?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I saw a picture of him. I got to check him out, but that's awesome, man. And that's that too, right? You don't really realize those things until you see it on the wall. It's like, where we were and
those were our best years,
as far as
I got a couple more questions from some fans here
it's
before
an awesome
we let you go. A couple fun ones here. One from Jake Giordano. What's your favorite moment wrestling for South Plainfield?
I'm going to give this one to you, right? Obviously, Ray Jazikoff has a podcast, The Breakfast Buffet, and he actually got this one from me as well.
I was there that night.
I'll give it to you too, but we wrestled Bergen Catholic our senior year at home.
Yeah,
and
awesome. A Romanian dude, right?
And when Troy Holloman pinned that kid, I forget his name, and the crowd went crazy and started chanting USA. And
it was so loud. It was vibrant.
It wasn't my
the
match,
whole
but
crowd.
that was probably my favorite moment.
We don't have we have a loud crowd, but I don't remember they weren't ever here we go, Scotty. There was no chanting, and it was the whole crowd chanting USA.
Yeah. Yeah. So when that happened, I think that was definitely, I was starstruck. I was watching that happen. I felt like Troy
There was
was
such
like
a buildup.
outside of
They
his
were like,
body,
this is going to
like
be a
just
match
watching it all
because
happen.
last
And
year
it
it was
was
a match. This kid's
definitely the
coming
best.
in,
That
new
was
kid. He's
the
going to
best.
compete with any of the hammers. They're like, we don't know what he's going 26-45. It's like, we're trying to game plan for this kid. We don't know anything about him. And then Troy goes out, pins him in a bar half like he pins everybody. And it was just just take down bar half, nothing crazy. It was great.
I was going to say it was just another day at the office for Tileman.
Nice.
It was great.
From
And then the crowd going crazy.
Sam
Definitely
Herring,
probably one of my
favorite international
moments.
wrestler to watch and
South
why?
Plainfield Wrestling. International wrestler
How
to
about Frank
watch and
Chamizo? He's a
why.
pretty exciting guy.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't really watch too much. Yeah. He's exciting.
Some
He's
of
exciting.
these other questions
So,
you've already
I mean,
answered.
as far as
I
that
had a
goes,
question for
I'd
you I
say
wrote
him,
down. I
right?
was
He's probably the superstar
kind of
of the
going back
sport
to
in
your high school
that
days,
sense.
but you made a huge jump. This is more mental talk, more mental mindset talk a little bit, but I just wanted to know, give the fans a little insight. You go from your freshman, sophomore seasons in high school, you make it to the state tournament, but don't place at all. And then your junior, senior season, you make a jump to go an undefeated state champ both seasons. What were some of the takeaways in between those times of sophomore, junior year where you were able to make that jump? And I mean, that kind of propelled your whole wrestling career. You were never the same wrestler since you became a state champ. You kind of took off and never looked back.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people, right? We go back to that. I had a lot of people in my corner. I remember specifically, I'll never forget it, but I lost a match at home my sophomore year. I forget who it was to. And our head coach at the time just grabbed me and said, you have everything except, the confidence. If you knew that you could beat these guys, you would beat them. You just have to understand that. And ever since then, that really resonated with me as far as that goes, right? And that kind of like lit a fire in me a little bit. And then it goes hand in hand with, you guys, my partners, right? You guys were going out getting all this training and wrestling the best competition in the country. And even though maybe I wasn't, on the club scene as much, you guys brought it to me, right? So I kind of cheated, right? I kind of cheated in that sense where I didn't have to go out and get it. It came to me because, you obviously very talented, Heilman very talented, Hunt very talented, Stasenko very talented, Peyton very talented. I was very lucky to have people who were going out and getting these things.
Like lying
and then
a little
bring
bit.
them to me.
You were traveling.
And then
I
I'd be
remember
able
when there
to
was the
just
grade 8 tournaments,
learn
bro. Like you were going all eight. Maybe there was 2 extra. You going all 10. You were wrestling and you were competing. And I'm wearing an Iron Horse shirt today. You were wrestling for Iron Horse on dual tournament teams all over the state, the country. Maybe in the wrestling room we were bringing it to you, but you were finding the competition. And I feel like looking back at it, you competed so much. That's what I think, like, you started believing in it and you started competing more and more. And then you were like, screw this, I'm gonna start winning these matches.
Yeah, no, I believe me, man. I competed, a lot. But my whole thing was I love to compete. I love to compete, right? I probably wouldn't be able to go to a wrestling club for 2 hours, 4 days a week, and maybe I would have lost myself if I had done it that way. And that's why those grade 8 tournaments were so good to me because, on the way down to the beach, I could stop in, wrestle 5 matches real quick, and it was fun. You're in a hot gym, and it was fun to me, and that's right. What kept me going was because it wasn't this like, staring the same 4 walls for 2 hours and go over, like Coach said, like a Turk. I'm going over a Turk for 4 hours. I would have gone crazy. So there's different ways to look at it, right? I did look for the competition in that sense. It was a lot to me. It meant a lot to me to go out there and actually compete, and I think that's where, underlying.
I want to go back. I can't believe there was a coach that said you don't have any confidence. You got to work on your confidence. I can't imagine anybody saying that to you. There's no way. Or I can't believe there was a time where you lacked confidence. Yeah.
Yeah, it obviously, and like I said, I took it and ran with it, right? He said that, and I took it and ran with it. But that's kind of what it was, right? You come in pretty young, and South Plainfield, obviously, you have a culture of the high school wrestling superstars, right? You watch them, and it's like crazy to you. So when you get there and you're in it, it's like, wow, like am I made for this? Like, am I supposed to be here? I watched it growing up and stuff. Like, I don't know if I should be here. And it took me a second to adjust to the whole like. You guys are the guys, especially because of the class I came in with. They relied on us heavily freshman year, sophomore year, obviously throughout the whole thing. So it did take me a little while to, I'd beat the people I was supposed to beat. I'd compete with the guys who, maybe I shouldn't beat 50-50. And it took me that conversation to really get over the hump and be the top guy.
I sit here today, man.
It was a
super proud of you.
A good
I'm
conversation.
beaming with pride just listening to you talk. Like your coach speak right now is incredible. But I always knew you could go this route and be great at it. So I'm excited for you, man. I'm super pumped you came on. It's been a while since we spoke, so it's good to see you, of course. I didn't really get a chance to spend time with you at the Big Tens. But you're killing it, man. You're the best, one of the best guys to ever come through our program. You've set the foundation for everything happening at Rutgers right now. So that's awesome. And forever you'll be on that wall, and that's a big deal. And we'll go down in Rutgers wrestling lore as one of the best matches ever, the national tournament. But I'm proud of you, man. You're doing some great things, and I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked because you're a winner, but it's awesome having you on, and just good to see you. Good to see you, and look forward to getting with you at the end of summer here.
Before we let you go here, Del, we'll exit this off. I wrote out a couple like would you rather questions for you. It should be fun. Should be fun here. Trying to switch it up from Goodies. He's been asking the same question for 15 weeks. So
it's a great question. I still want to know who you're bringing to the island. We'll figure that out.
All right. So what would you rather hear? Or it's more like what just your favorite out of the two? Would you rather be a wrestler or a coach? Would you rather coach youth or college?
Wrestler.
Would you rather coach youth or college? What's your favorite tournament in high school? Pop and Flow, duels,
youth,
or NHSCA Memorial Day duels? Being a state champ or being an All-American?
Pop and Flow, but only the year that we won it.
Got it. Because you're supposed to. Because you're supposed to.
Wow, that's a good question.
I'll go all man.
That's a really good question.
I'll go all American.
If you could go back to the start of your high school career or the start of your college career, which one you pick? Yeah, but I don't think a lot of people know that situation. You're thrown in a situation where you have to not have to, but you want to get out of the NC State situation last second. Coach Goodell kind of gives you the ultimatum, like, yeah, you could come to Rutgers, but you got to give me the effort to make 125. I feel like you have so much pride in like living up to your word and just being a good person, like that you were going to do everything you could, even if it wasn't the right move. You were still going to try your hardest to make that weight.
Yeah, and in that sense, I think it kind of goes back to, hindsight 2020, right? If I knew then what I know now kind of thing, I think I could have made the weight. I think I was a little immature about it. I think I didn't really I put my best effort in. It just wasn't in the right direction kind of thing. And I think if I did that a little bit better, I would have been a 4-time NCAA qualifier.
I got last one for you. This is a good one for our fans here.
Yeah,
who do you got in the room?
It
you
goes
wrestled
both
with
ways.
both guys, I'm sure, before. We got Sebastian coming in. You got an hour on the clock. Who comes out alive, Soriano or Sebastian? Who comes out on top? I don't know. Who's winning that battle? Are they gonna end up being
who comes out alive?
Slap the hands after? Or are they gonna walk out and need a day to kind of settle down?
Well, on top or alive?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I think
you put me in a corner here. That's a setup. What walking out with a win.
I think they're both very similar, man. It's going to be fun to watch them battle and practice together.
Sebastian.
I think that they're so
live,
competitive that it might be opposite of what everyone thinks, and it might be like down a little bit. Like, all right, let's check our egos at the door and kind of work together. I hope it's like that, but two world-class, high-level guys, you don't know. I've taken the turn for the worst in a practice before and went the wrong way. So I could only imagine. So it'll be fun, and I can't wait to scrap with those guys. And we need you to come back and scrap with them too. We need to get more guys. They got RBY this week. I don't know if you saw Sebastian's Instagram. He was working out with Shane Van Ness, RBY, Mueller. Some cool stuff. If you got some Stevens guys that are trying to scrap, I know you got a lot of good guys those sizes. Link them up together. We'll make sure that they could get some good workouts, especially if they're down by the Jersey Shore. That's where a lot of them are working out.
Yeah, no, for sure. I saw that, and I think that's great, right? You guys have obviously a lot of resources being around there and stuff, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think we can get a lot better. And then I'm definitely
I can't
down to
believe you
stop
wore
by the
that.
room.
I didn't.
As soon as we change that hat, I'm in there.
I'll look up.
Change the hat, and I'm in there. Change the hat, and I'm in there.
Yeah, send me a link. Send me a link. Send me a link to get some
Turner,
Stevens gear. I'll support you guys as well, man. No, I just wanted to support them. I really only saw he didn't send me gear out of nowhere. Like I saw his link. I just wanted to support the new program, and I bought a hat and I bought a shirt. And I got some long hair right now, so I gotta just keep the mane tamed. But
no, it's all love,
some Stevens gear too, bro.
busting.
Of course, you're one of my best friends. I gotta support you. It's messed up. You're right.
Yeah, no, it's all love. It's all love. Like joking around. Definitely, we'll make sure to get you some for sure.
Hey,
And,
you guys are the big dogs, bro. They gotta come find you.
But Harry, I'm looking for you. No, I'm kidding.
But
Thanks
we're
for
right
having
next
me on,
door,
guys.
baby. Right? You guys are neighbors.
Exactly. They know where to find us too. They know.
Yeah, man.
You come knocking whenever you're ready.
Thanks,
All right,
buddy.
man.
Great
Yeah,
job.
exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. But thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate the time, and
That was
you guys
good,
are doing
man.
some great stuff.
Yeah.
I knew it would be. That dude's a stud, man.
All right,
He's a
guys.
We
stud.
got a little overlap when we got a guest on. I got to do a better
just don't
job
have-
giving the guys a little more time to answer. Getting a couple texts that got some overlap.
What do you mean?
Like I start talking and Scott's not finished answering his question or things like that.
Yeah.
Like
That was good, man. There's a lot people want to know. There's so many questions here that we can't get to. He's really got this, man. His coach, and he's into it. I'm so happy about that because I knew he'd have a wealth of knowledge and kind of different way of going about it. I never knew he'd get into it like he is.
Harry commented for Scott, Harry Turner, 10th Ave in Belmar. So, Scotty, I ain't hard to find.
Do those two wrestle? Do they wrestle?
I mean, NJCU's in Jersey City and Stevens is.
Stevens, you think they have to wrestle, right?
They're in Hoboken. I mean, with the current climate of this COVID, if they're going to have a season, they'll be dueling.
We should wrestle that at Rutgers before one of our matches. That'd be fun.
That'd be cool. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool. No doubt. But he was a hammer, man. So many big wins. You guys were a part of so many big wins. I mean, I would love to just sit down one day and go over all those huge wins we've had at the rack and even on the road,
Yeah, I was always so grateful to have a 1-2 punch with him.
Yeah.
A couple times in my career, it's been it hasn't been that 1-2 puncher. There hasn't been a guy that gets the fire going. And then when Scotty was 133, it was awesome having him right before me. Win or lose, I knew that it was going to be a battle. He was going to give his all. And I had kind of momentum and excitement to go out, even though I'm not investing my emotions into it. It's momentum for the team, momentum for the rack. And then when Soriano came in, it was Soriano, Scotty, me. It was game over. I never thought I would lose a duel. I'm a big team guy. I have pride in winning for the team, and I only lost one home match, and I never lost at the rack. It was on the football field in a really big moment, and I never lost a home duel other than that. Never lost at the rack or a College Ave gym. So I have pride in that, and it was awesome to have Scotty to light that fire, and then Soriano to light that fire even more. And Shawnee Mack did a great job too when he was 25.
Yeah. I think what not a lot of people understand when I talk about he's low maintenance, and you know this, like it's hard to come in there and wrestle Nick every single day. Like that's a hard thing to do, right? He has such a regiment and he just wants to go and he wants to bang, he wants to go hard. It's not a lot of fluid drilling, right? Because he can but Scott, we would put him with him all the time. And I think Nick Suriano, obviously you helped out Scotty as well because you would train with him and you like training with him. But that was a big deal when Nick came in. That really, I think, sent Scotty to a new level and got him better because that's who he was training with every day. So it was a really, really good situation, but it's a hard thing to do. And he's sandwiched between the two of you, and I just think it made him so much better.
Yeah, he's such a beast, like just as a person, and he's solid. You hear him talk, and he's so much more than just that coach role. He's got a really great personality, and I'm excited to see where he goes within the coaching world or whatever he wants to do. He was sitting at that desk. I don't know if you saw in the background, it was like some blueprints. Like he's at his regular job, man. He's a project. He's a project manager, so I
saw that.
He's just doing really well for himself right now and hustling and using his youth right now to like just build his brand. I think he's doing a really good job at that, and he's going to have a lot of options in his future, whether he wants to coach, whether he wants to do something else. He really set a good foundation for himself. I'm excited to see what he does.
Yeah, man. Well, he's turned out all right. That's for darn sure. It's really cool how close all you guys are. You're South Plainfield guys, but then our Rutgers guys. It's just really, really cool to see that. And then I think about that team, all those teams that you guys have had. We've had a lot of guys on. We've had all our All-Americans, right? Theobald's been on. Del Vecchio's been on. Parati's been on.
We need Soriano.
Billy Smith he's been on. He was just short, but all those guys have been on that part of that team.
Yeah. Yeah, we need Soriano.
Yeah, we got to get him. I've tried, and we've reached out to him. He's when he decides what he's doing, I think maybe he'll come on. So that'll be good. We'll get him. We'll get him for sure.
Yeah, I feel bad.
What else? How do you want to close this?
I can't believe I wore the hat. I kind of feel bad I wore the hat now that he said that.
Nah, you're supporting Harry, man.
I haven't been sleeping great, and I woke up at like 3:30. I stayed up for like an hour and a half, and then I fell back asleep till like 8:15. So I was like, I didn't have time to get in the shower, get the hair right. I just needed to throw on a hat. That's
the one you picked.
This is the one today.
No, you brought up Favia. He's a darn good coach, and he spent a couple years in our room training with our guys. And you're right, he's got a great mentality for the sport, and he's done a great job up there. I know he's getting Nick Boggiano, kid from Camden Catholic, Harrison Hanosa is going there. So they got some really good kids going there, man. There's some tough cats in that room. So he's right. Forget Division I, Division III. Put your foot on the line, wrestle, and those guys compete. So that's pretty cool.
We got Doc Haley backstage. Let's bring him through real quick, then we'll close it out.
All right. I haven't seen Doc in a while.
Doc Haley, team chiropractor, Rutgers Athletics chiropractor.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
What's going on, Doc Haley?
Listening to you guys in between patients here, I just wanted to give you a little story about Del Vecchio and the big match with the Santo. So we're out in Cleveland with my friends, and you know me, I want to see all the matches, but we're in different hotels with my friends. I go to pick them up for the consolations. These guys are sleeping. So I'm like, guys, you got to watch the consolation match. We got some Rutgers guys wrestling. By the time they got ready, I had to watch that match in a hotel room on ESPN. Oh. I couldn't see it live. And I'm like, so one guy's in the shower. He's yelling, what's going on? What's going on? So I'm yelling the scores and stuff. I'm like, well, get the hell out of here and watch the match. And I was so mad that I didn't talk to them for the rest of the tournament till the finals. I was so ticked off because I should have been. We had the great seats. We were there.
Yeah.
You're like, I should have been the guy hugging him.
Thank God ESPN does a great job covering it. And,
how do you miss a Friday night at the national tournament? That's the best round, the blood round and the semis.
I know. People don't realize it. If they're not wrestling fans, because, you meet a lot of people that are not wrestling fans. I go, guys and girls, if you want to see a sporting event, NCAA wrestling, you got to at least go to one tournament. There's nothing like it. And I've been to everything. I've been to Super Bowls. I've been to World Series. I've been to hockey, basketball, Olympics. I was down. Nothing beats that NCAA wrestling tournament. And it's great when it's close because you can get all the local people there. But how you guys doing? I just wanted to touch base with you, see how you all doing.
We're doing good, man. We're hanging in there, just trying to bring the people some positivity. Friday AMs at 9 a.m. with our
morning
cup of coffee.
I got to get one for
Or
old
hey,
New Jersey City University. That's up in my neck of the woods. I'm gonna
yeah.
definitely
If you
see
get
some
if you get an NJCU hat though, there's a new rule that you have to get a Stevens hat as well. Like you got to get one on
I want
one.
to see them wrestle. I
Yeah.
want to see them bring some juice back. And you guys might remember. I know Scott, you probably remember when Montclair and
Oh, yeah.
wrestled for and Trenton
Yep.
State in the old days.
Yep.
That was a big rivalry in New Jersey.
Big rivalry. Oh, yeah.
In fact, in the old days, they were the best teams in Jersey at one point.
Yep.
Them and then with
Yep, no
Rutgers
doubt.
into it. So we got to get the Division III back up, and these two coaches and these two teams are going to do really well.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
Let's just get.
That's what we're
let's just
trying to
get
do.
the-
That's what they're trying to do for sure.
Well,
yeah,
thanks
let's
for
get through
joining
the
us, Doc.
situation. We'll be all right.
Thanks for joining us, Doc. Really good hearing from you, man. Hope all is well.
Gotta go
Yeah,
work on a
appreciate you
couple
coming on,
pictures.
Doc. Hope you're well, man.
I am doing fantastic. I hope you guys are doing good, and I'll see you as soon as this is over.
Sounds great.
Yep, you got it, buddy. Thanks.
Enjoy the weekend.
Yep, we will. All right, cool. That's good to see him, man. He does a good job for us.
Yeah. That's good that he joined on. You know, more fans, please call on and share your little stories here and there whenever you have the moment, a moment where we don't have a guest on. We welcome those, and we welcome the questions in our comments in the future weeks to come. But I think that's all for today. Coach, you got anything else?
No, I'm good, man. Let's close out. Be safe. We'll get back next Friday, and it'll be good because we'll be able to talk about our first round of testing, see how that whole protocol went, and hopefully we're back in the room August 31st training as a team. So that's the plan right now, and hopefully you're getting healthy and be able to join us here pretty quickly.
Yeah, shout out to the Steven Ducks letting Scott come talk about their program a little bit. Follow Stevens. They're all over Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You know, they share a lot of their information on their athletes. Their handle is usually, I think, Stevens Ducks Wrestling, something on that. If those 3 words, Stevens Ducks Wrestling, you'll find it. And Scott's usually under Scott Lavecchio on his social media. If you want to follow him, man, they're always sharing good stuff about their program as well as me and Coach Goodell sharing stuff about Rutgers. But I got nothing else for the people.
All right, my man. Enjoy the weekend, right? I'll talk to you.
Sounds good, man. Have a good one.